Hey guys, you're watching India Today Tech, and in this video we're going to take a look at the Honor 8 Pro. It's Huawei's latest smartphone, and there is a lot of stuff on board that the company has put to make sure that it competes well with the mid-segment and flagship smartphones. The phone will be available at Rs 29,999 exclusively on Amazon. The sale starting only after July 10. Now let's take a look at the phone and see if it is worth the buy at Rs 30,000. where it competes with phones like OnePlus 5 and Samsung Galaxy A7. The phone's design is easy to miss for a flagship because it doesn't have a lot of embellishments on it. For example, there's no glass on the back or there's no curved screen. The back is also flat, but the phone is made out of full metal unibody design, and it is made out of a very solid material which gives a very reassuring and sturdy feel in the hand. The buttons are tactile and are in reach when you're using it with one hand. There's a 2.5D Corning Gorilla Glass 3 at front, which gives a very smooth touch experience, and then there's a fingerprint sensor at the back which is reachable when you're using it with one hand. The edges are also curved, which gives it a very smooth fitting in the hand, and then the back is flat. It's not curved like the OnePlus 5, but still, while using the phone with one hand, it feels quite easy to use despite its 5.7-inch display. It has a dual camera at the back with both the sensors placed side by side with a dual LED flash. Then there is 3.5mm headphone jack at the bottom with a USB Type-C port and a speaker grill. There's also a mic at the bottom and a secondary mic at the top for noise cancellation, and then there's an IR blaster at the top which doubles the phone as a remote control. Huawei phones have been well built in the past, and they also manage to look good. But what is the use of all that if the software experience is not that great? Let's take a look at the full specifications first. The Honor 8 Pro is powered by Huawei's high-silicon Kirin 960 processor, clocked at 2.36 GHz. This is an octa-core processor with 4 high-performance ARM Cortex A73 cores and 4 energy-saving ARM Cortex A53 cores. This is paired to 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, which is also expandable via microSD card. Most of the updates on Honor 8's interface, the EMUI 5.1, are performance related. There is improved mistouch detection, a new algorithm for recycling and freeing up RAM faster called Ultra Memory, and a new algorithm for faster touch response called Ultra Response, which lowers touch latency and supports predictive finger tracking. The big feature, however, is machine learning. Huawei claims Honor 8 Pro uses advanced machine learning to track and predict which apps you use the most. The smartphone then allocates CPU, GPU and I/O resources to those apps in order to make them more responsive. There's now the option to add an app drawer and the notification center. Quick toggles and settings look and work a lot like stock Android. Though Huawei hasn't removed much of the unnecessary clutter on the software, it is hidden to make the interface look clean on the face of it. More importantly, despite the bloat, the phone runs surprisingly fast and without any lags. If ever you would want to use, there are features like a built-in phone manager that takes care of optimization and has an app lock built in, which means you can lock apps and open them using your fingerprint without downloading a third-party app. The fingerprint reader can be used to bring down the notification shade or slide through photos or take photos. Then there are various gestures that are initiated with your knuckles to take a screenshot or initiate split screen. Pretty cool. The good thing is that despite all the gimmicks and all the extra stuff that Huawei has put on the phone, the interface is smooth and delivers a very snappy experience. In fact, the multitasking on the phone is great, and as you saw, the apps open as soon as you touch them. What else does Huawei gets right on this phone? It's the display, the camera and even the battery. Honor 8 Pro has a 5.7-inch IPS display that has Quad HD resolution. The resolution itself is something you won't find in this price bracket, though it would only prove more useful for VR content. But then the display also has excellent colors and great viewing angles. The only negative with the display is that the maximum brightness is a bit lacking, which will affect legibility outdoors under the bright hot sun. Like the OnePlus 5 or the iPhone 7 Plus, the second camera on the rear of Honor 8 Pro is not for zooming in. Rather, Huawei uses it to produce much better low light images. Honor 8 Pro, just like the Honor 8, features a dual camera setup at the rear. There is a primary 12 megapixel RGB sensor along with a secondary 12 megapixel monochrome sensor. Both work together to create the final image. Both sensors have an aperture of f2.2. Huawei claims that the monochrome sensor takes in 200% more light and 50% more contrast as compared to the color sensor. So the phone has a lot of extra data to add to the image, which in turn has better light, more contrast and more details. The low light performance, as you can see in the images, looks great, and despite the phone missing out on OIS, the camera can take sharp and blur-free images. The autofocus capability of the phone camera is also nice. It is fast and macro shots come out well. The focus is closer than what we have seen on phones in this price. Though the bokeh mode is a little gimmicky, but at its native optical aperture of f2.2, the shots appear to have great background blur. Lastly, the battery backup on Huawei Honor 8 is quite good. After a full charge and a full day of extensive usage, our review unit still had 50% charge left. For a phone with Quad HD resolution and a power horse of a chipset, it is quite surprising. The Honor 8 Pro is one of the few Huawei smartphones and one of the few very smartphones in this price segment that manages to take everything right. With Honor 8 Pro, Huawei brings flagship grade experience to the under 30,000 rupee segment. It not only has a great metal unibody design that you find on other phones as well, but it also has a 5.7-inch display that is vivid and has a Quad HD resolution. What more would you want from a flagship killer?